Hey everyone, it's Kute here. I've just been walking around at Occupy LA. People say there's a revolution happening, and it's neat to see people rising up in these times. You know, people call it an emergency on planet Earth, where something more than before is seeking to emerge. And I definitely think it's not business as usual. And I think it's time for revolution. And I think, you know, I have mixed feelings. I think it's amazing seeing people here and, you know, standing for something, willing to at least show up. I think that's the first step, to show up. A part of any revolution is to show up and make your voice heard. Because each and every one of you listening right now have the ability to make a difference. You don't have to be Gandhi. You don't have to be Martin Luther King. You don't have to be, you know, some great guru or teacher. But in your lives, you can make a difference, whether it's in the life of your child, whether it's in the life of your loved one, whether it's in the life of the person in the grocery store. You know, but I'm really reminded more than ever, walking around and inspired in a certain sense, in a sort of different way, that the real revolution has to start inside. That there is a great difference between rebellion, because rebellion is against something else, and revolution, which is a total transformation within yourself and a complete understanding within your own self. I remember many years ago, I was walking with one of my teachers, inspirations, old mentors, and he's now an 89-year-old man, a former disciple of Gandhi, a man called Kute. He built 300 schools in the poorest state in India. And he was staying with me in LA. He was one of the oldest disciples of Gandhi, a true man of non-violence and peace and compassion. And we went up to a peace rally in San Francisco. And I drove him all the way there, and I was with him, very excited. He's a revolutionary figure in India, and like a living Gandhi. And we were at this peace rally, and there were thousands of people, if not 10, 15,000 people, and they were screaming and they were chanting, you know, and screaming, and they had these angry looks on their face, and they were screaming and screaming, and we want peace, we want, I mean, they had just such venom in their eyes. And Kute was going to speak, and I said, hey Kute, how you feeling? And he didn't say anything to me, and I was like, you should be excited, there's 15,000 people here standing for peace. And when he stood up, I was shocked, because when he stood up, he looked at the audience and he looked at the crowd, and he said to everyone, do you love Bush? Do you love so-and-so? And he had all these people say, do you love these people? Because what was very profound for me to witness in that moment is he just brought to attention the level of hate, the level of anger that the protesters who were protesting against something had within themselves. And he made clear that you can't create true revolution. You can create rebellion, but rebellion tends to perpetuate the same energy. But true revolution is a total transformation. And he made clear you can't create peace from the energy of hate. You can't create peace from the energy of hate. Revolution is a total transformation of your consciousness. Revolution is not just change, because when you change is like rearranging the furniture. It's like you go into your house and you rearrange the furniture in your house. Nothing's really changed. You know, as a transformational coach, I coach people from all walks of life. And many people get motivated, they get pumped up, and they change things in their lives, but they're still left with the same patterns. Maybe they leave a relationship, but they manifest another relationship, different face, different person, same patterns. They leave the job they're in that they hated with their boss, different job, different boss, same issue. They leave the country, go live somewhere else, different country, different climate, same issues. Ultimately, because wherever you go, there you are. So I believe that you may not be able to change what's out there in the relative world. In fact, I'm a believer that in the realm of the 3D, in the realm of the relative world, there's no such thing as a utopia. There's no such thing as a utopia. There's no such thing as a perfect planet in a certain, utopian, heavenly, perfect sense. The world is made up of plus and minus. The world is made up of duality. The world is made up of light and dark. This is the play of the world, of the 3D. If you're looking for perfection in the 3D world, you'll never find it. That the real source of true perfection is inside of each and every one of us, inside of the depth of your own being. That we must go there first. That to truly do your part in a revolution. See, right now I believe in these intense times we are actually in perhaps the greatest spiritual revolution that the world has ever seen. Old paradigms, old ways of doing things, old economic systems, old education systems. This is no longer business as usual. We're being forced to let go of all those places we may have been holding on to for a sense of security, a sense of identity. My home, my car, my job, my whatever the external thing is, and we're being invited and forced to reconnect with who we truly are. So I believe that each and every one of us, each and every one of you listening out there, you can do your part. You can do your part. Perhaps you don't have billions of dollars behind you. Perhaps you don't have a big budget, but Mother Teresa, she picked up one person. You can do your part. You can't change the entire world. You can't change the government. You may not be able to change your entire city, but what you can change and what you are in control over is yourself, is you. That the real revolution will start inside of yourself, because the world is a reflection and a mirror of you. The entire collective world is really a reflection of the consciousness of each and every one of us put together collectively. The world is mirroring us. I believe if we transform ourselves, if we stop abusing ourselves, if we stop dropping bombs of self-hatred inside of our own consciousness, bombs of judgment, if we stop the brutality upon ourselves, the ways we are constantly judging ourselves inside, the brutality is not just outside, it's inside of our own consciousness. Self-hatred, the stories we tell ourselves, the judgments we have upon ourselves. If we're willing to bring peace within our own selves, to ourselves, and begin to truly love ourselves. What do you need to love about yourself that perhaps you haven't been loving? What do you need to forgive about yourself that perhaps you haven't been forgiving and maybe holding on to for 20 years? The war that's been going on out there for 15, 17, 20 years isn't just out there. There's a war going on inside of us. When you and I are able to bring this forgiveness, this loving, this peace within ourselves, then I believe we are doing our part. You and I are doing our part in the collective transformation of the planet as a whole. The planet as a whole. You know, I'm reminded of a story of a great inspiration of mine, a man by the name of Gandhi. You've heard of Gandhi. A true revolutionary. Not someone that was just facilitating a rebellion, but a true revolutionary. A woman brought Gandhi her child and she said, "Dear Gandhi, you're a great man, you're a Mahatma, a great soul. My son eats too much sugar." She says, "Would you please tell him to stop eating sugar because you have great powers, he'll listen to you." He said, "Okay, come back in 3 weeks." Sure enough, she came back in 3 weeks. And she says, "Gandhi, I was here 3 weeks ago and you told me to come back in 3 weeks. I'm here with my son. Would you please tell my son to stop eating sugar?" He looked at the son and he said, "Stop eating sugar." And she was surprised and she said, "Why didn't you just tell us 3 weeks ago? We had to travel 20 hours home, 20 hours to get here. Why didn't you just tell us 3 weeks ago?" And he looked at her and he says, "Dear lady, 3 weeks ago, I myself was eating sugar, myself." You must be the change. You must be the change you are seeking to experience. You must be the change you are seeking to have on in the world. You must be the change you are seeking to affect in the world. And I believe that if you come from that place, what you say, what you do, the words you speak, your actions will be aligned with a power. Your actions will be aligned with an energy. Your actions will be aligned with an authentic integrity that people will feel, that those around you will feel. You don't have to even say anything. People will start coming to you and they'll say, "Hey man, hey girl, what are you doing? something's different. I feel a certain energy from you. Tell me what you got. And in that moment, there'll be an openness. Each and every one of you can do your part for the revolution. First, transform yourself. And from that place, you are the world is you. In order to really affect change, we really need to look at the very patterns, the very addictions, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, whether it's food, whatever it is. We must look at how we are funding and perpetuating the very organizations, the very government, the very organizations, the very systems that we are wanting to change. My friend, you must be the one that gets yourself straight. You must be the one that gets yourself aligned. You must be the one that transforms yourself, because if you truly want to create revolution, do like Gandhi. Do like Gandhi. Get off alcohol, get off drugs. Stop sourcing and perpetuating the very pattern that you aren't in relationship with yourself. Ultimately, the revolution starts with you. The revolution starts with me, and each and every one of us can make a profound difference right now. Don't just wait. You don't just have to come to occupy LA, occupy Wall Street, occupy Fleet Street, occupy wherever. Wherever you are in your life, occupy that place. Occupy your home, occupy your children, occupy your own hearts. Wherever you are, it's time to occupy that place fully, to love fully, to give profoundly. And in that moment, you will be creating a revolution within yourself, a revolution in your heart, a revolution in your home, a revolution in your child's consciousness, a revolution in the consciousness of your husband, of your wife. Occupy your life. Occupy your soul. Remember who you are. It's time. You are revolutionary. The time is now. No one's coming. No one's coming, because you're already here. You are the change you've been seeking. Occupy yourself, your real self. Let's go.